Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name's Alisha Braché. This is Cosmic Gateway, and this is a 3 year in the making video interview or cozy conversation, as you'd like to call it. Everyone, welcome someone who's incredibly special in my life, who's coming out of hiatus, Debbie DuBois. Thank you for your service and thank you for being here.
Oh my gosh, Alicia, I am so happy to be doing this video with you because we've talked about this for a while now. What, about 6 months?
At least, if not.
I couldn't get out of hiatus. I just couldn't. I'm sorry. It was
But you
too,
know what? Here
too
we are
crazy.
on this eclipse, this Leo solar eclipse, and it was the perfect moment. And I didn't realize how perfect it was until we landed here. So here we are. Welcome, everyone. I would highly encourage you to sit down and get a cup of tea or coffee or whatever works for you.
Whatever beverage. I was going to
Whatever.
say I drank mine already, so I'm not going to be drinking anything. Go ahead.
Debbie and I are going to talk all things new love template, old love template, what's happening, why divine counterparts are so important at this time, the bigger picture, what's leaving, what's coming in, what we're observing, what we're going through. And can I just say, I now have a
Oh,
copy of my own, The Sovereign Heart. Debbie is going to be really shy about it, but she has just published. Congratulations, Debbie, for publishing your first
thank
book.
you. Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot. It means a lot that you're holding that book because it just came out pretty recently. And yeah, it's like there's not a lot of physical copies out there. There's PDFs out there. A lot of PDFs are, but the physical copies I do like print on demand, right? So it takes a little time to get in your hands. But if you're the type of person that likes to have, a book by your nightstand, this is it.
That's
This is a
exactly.
great nightstand book.
I actually had to remove it from my nightstand so I could like flash it in the video. But when I got it, I just held it to my heart. I haven't had the time to read it front to back, but it's kind of one of those I can pick it up and go, oh yeah, that I need that chapter today. But I held it to my heart and I felt the frequencies that
Oh,
your experience and life work and wisdom was poured into this. So thank you,
thank
Debbie, because
you.
when we reconnect, so if you know, going back 3 years ago, Debbie invited me on her channel, and we were always going to do another round two here. So it's taken 3 years to get here, but perfect timing. And when Debbie and I connected or reconnected, uh, for those who don't know, Debbie's what I call the OG from Divine Counterparts, Twin Flame, Sacred Union, all the
Old
names.
timer. Go ahead and say it. I'm the ground. I always call myself the fairy godmother of the old twin flame community. I was like, I was always helping all the people who had the twin flame rooms and stuff like that. Yeah, I feel like an old timer.
Because I mean, I came in and like you were someone that was like, oh, she know, like I bow down and respect you, girl, because those times were wild, and you were in there just trying to get people to like follow their heart, claim their sovereignty, and you are still doing that incredible work to this day. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. Sometimes it's hard to believe I'm that same person, you know? I literally started True Sacred Union Facebook group like back in 2014, and Mel Brand, I remember him
Mhm.
calling me out on
Mhm.
his videos and saying, "Well, I know Debbie Dubois won't agree with me on this," and it was one of those things where it just feels like a lifetime ago,
Oh,
and yet you and I are going to talk about how this stuff is just
oh.
coming full circle. It's like, woo,
Ooh, I
yeah,
can feel it.
I know, me too.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to dive into where we've come from,
Yeah.
where it's gone into its like journeying of the whole community, the people on the journey, those that have fallen off, those that have changed. Consciousness has grown and expanded, and where we are is kind of I like to talk about bookends or completion to enter in a brand new cycle. Oh, I get chills through my whole
I
body
know,
as I say.
I'm chilling nonstop.
So, um, yeah, so you started back into maybe if you can give people who aren't familiar like a little overview of like
Yeah. Yeah,
the journey that's been.
I had my catalytic heart awakening in 2012, and there were a whole bunch of us that did. Some people had it earlier, and then some people had it, 2018, 2000. There was a later segment, but that 2012, I I had so many conversations going with so many people who were experiencing the bona fide, actually met someone. The person wasn't in the same country. They were years apart in age. I mean, it was just crazy. And this is when we had the huge growth of those twin flame rooms. And I remember Philomena James, and she
Mm,
had these three huge
who
100,000, or I don't know, maybe I'm
well,
exaggerating.
it
It
was
seemed
no. Some of them were that
they were
big, yeah.
huge. And I remember being like, oh, something's not right here. Because see, I knew that my experience was a bona fide experience, and it was shared a bona fide experience. And yet I saw so many of the teachings, and then
Yeah.
people were just getting trapped in those rooms. And I was really trying to teach what I was learning at the time. And unfortunately, like the more time passed, the more like I want to say intense the groups got and everything. And I found myself like
A lot of distortion.
I was writing articles. Like I remember one that I wrote, Escape Out of Twin Flame Land.
Best
Yeah.
title ever.
Oh my gosh. I literally had, and I had these great graphics. It's when all those twin flame photos were being used all over
Mhm.
Facebook. Remember that? And I had some great photos, and I was getting 5,000 reads on my articles and stuff. It was so much fun, but nobody really wanted to listen to me. No one wanted to hear
No one
that
wants
this is
to.
a journey about you. This is a journey about you coming into your wholeness. They were like, oh, but, and they would just, fall prey to all of the outsourcing of their contentness, their happiness to something outside themselves. That's what I wrote about in my book. So that's one of the things I'm just saying that I'm chilling on it because realizing this book was how many years in the making? And when I sat down to write the book, I thought I was going to be writing about my journey. No, it wasn't about me at all. And I knew the second I got writing that it was really going to help people that had been in the twin flame community already because
In flame rehab.
yes, well, it makes you go, oh my gosh, I was actually lived that. And it's the
Mm.
historical side. But then it's okay, where are we now? Because the history has really taken us to a place where we are all, I'm chilling on this. We've really, so many of us have moved into our sovereignty. We're like, yeah, who needs a man? I'm all, I'm good. I've got that space inside of me. I don't need to fill that box. I don't need to check that off anymore. However, we still went through it and we still know, and a lot of people close their hearts. So
Yeah,
where I feel
that's
like
yeah.
my book kind of takes off from there is how do you return to your open heart?
Mm,
How do you trust yourself to open your heart again, to
mm.
relook at and revisit either that connection or even other connections coming in because you still more than likely have built some blocks to love that you haven't gotten rid of. And that's what I've been working on. I have been working on the blocks to love and every other kind of block that we got going on here to our authentic self, our sovereign self. And so I feel like the relationship is a really big part of it. But it's not, it's the reflection of it. So the more I've gotten into looking at myself in the mirror and looking at my fears and looking at, what didn't I accomplish that I've set out to accomplish, how it like being on hiatus, I've had a whole boy, I had a nuclear bomb hit my life this year. And
Right.
we won't go there. You know what I've been through. It's not been pretty. But the
Salute
thing
to
is
you,
that
sister.
this period of time is compression. this period of
Oof.
time, this
Ooh.
2026, yeah, it's all about layering it on, man. We got it going on. You're not getting one thing and having to walk through it. Lay every piece, career, friendships, relationships, your family, health. You lay it all in its compression. But the reason behind it's so beautiful is that it's pushing us up to literally get into the sovereign heart to where we are ready to actually take the leap that we're about ready to take. And that's the stuff. And what's so beautiful about connecting with you is that you're dealing with all the energetics of it. You're getting the dreams and you're getting the downloads and you're getting all of this. And I'm hearing what you got going on with pods and overlays. And I'm over here like, okay, I got a block to money. Like, okay, like what programs am I running? Okay, what are the beliefs that back that up? What are my interpretations? What am I identifying with? How do I change that? So I'm dealing with psychology and tangible
Mm.
thoughts and everything else. And you're dealing with this incredible, it's so encouraging because you're seeing the stuff that's happening outside of this realm. And that's
Mm.
why I love how we talk to each other because I'm like, okay, girl, catch me up. So now you got to catch me up. I just caught you up. Now you got to catch me up.
No, I was just saying it's a beautiful blend because it's so complementary because you can't just only deal in the energetics. You can't just only deal in the psychology. They have to be blended and like fused together, unified together to get the really powerful, palpable shifts. You know, and
Yeah.
so I think that when we come together, I just get so excited because it's like we're coming in at we're kind of essentially saying the same thing, coming in at slightly different perspectives that are just when you put them together, it ignites something. Um,
Well, and it's really helpful because this isn't just for other people, this is for us. I mean, like you're really helping me in my expansion. And that's one of the things that makes it really difficult sometimes for me to think about coming out of hiatus because I've been deep in process. I've been doing this work, people. I am not sitting on the sidelines. For a long time I was working, right? When I was doing my channels and doing all that stuff. Now this is my work. I literally have been put in a position where, I mean, literally put in a position where I got no choice but to get this job done internally. So the friendship that we have has been just so incredible. And do you notice like we seem to we bypass you and I do not share our down days. Do you notice that?
mm,
Like we'll be like, oh, well, I've been off doing my stuff. But we don't call each other up and say, well,
no.
I'm going through it. We're like holding
Mm,
the space for each other. And when we come together, it seems like we're holding that
mm.
frequency, which I think that that's a magical place to be too, you know?
Totally, totally. And the amount of times that there's a coding in your voice and your expression, your words, your book that's very catalytic and activating. I'm sure that many people watching this, but sometimes when something's so unique to you and specific, you don't even realize what you do for other people. So I want to express that because the amount of
Thank
times
you.
I've woken up from a crazy,
Dream world
multi-dimensional
coming at
dream
me.
space, cleaning out pods and spiders and all sorts of
I'm like,
shenanigans.
oh no, no, please.
It's like,
I don't want to
um,
do that work.
no, I mean it's grueling. It's someone's,
Yeah.
I connect Raylene Brady and she does very similar work and she does incredible work and I want to get her on actually. This is a remind herself, but I was having
Yeah.
a private conversation with her and we were talking about these type of things that, she's been doing it for a lot longer than I have. And she said, well, I always say, so I'm quoting her, I always say it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
I'm glad it's not me. Oh,
But I think that we're all doing it. Just some of us are
yeah.
more in awareness of the details than
Yeah.
others. I think we all
I
play
think
a
you're
role
right.
to varying degrees. And I think my
Right.
role or my gift is that I can put language around the energetics because unfortunately, you know, I'm in conscious
No.
awareness of
You're
what's transpiring.
you're incredible at expressing it too. I mean, I am always floored by the articles that you write, when you make a post on YouTube and the language that you use, it's a different language and I am always fascinated by it. It's really really important. So I
Oh,
see
thank
you.
you. Well, thank you, Debbie. Well, I can't take credit for it because that's my higher self. I literally pick up my phone to write a post and she takes over. So,
I hear you.
and sometimes I look back, I'm like, damn, girl, that was
I know.
most people I'm sure watching this understand that when you put pen to paper or you start typing something out, it's like there's a higher part of your consciousness that just needs to get information out
Wraps right
and
in.
away
Yep.
you go. And sometimes I know for me, when there's a lot of energetics at play and churning and I'm feeling it all, sometimes just writing those posts actually releases. It's like I'm holding so much data and information. It's like I can disperse the energy and it kind of dissipates. So get writing people, like in whatever way, like it's really important. But what I want to say is the amount of mornings I've woken up in that really discombobulated state. And I rolled over and I picked up my phone, and there's a voice memo from Debbie. And just hearing your voice it does something to me that gets me out of that. Like, so it's the frequencies that come to it, not just, yeah, the information that you share, but it's the frequencies through your tone of voice as well that's really activating and can keep that frequency high, keep it in that right place of alignment, I guess. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. You
Mm.
know me, I really like to talk. So I do a lot of messages for people. I do. I have my inner circle and I always get up and if I've had some insight, I gotta make sure that I share it. And of course, my higher self is saying, turn on the camera and video your insights. And that's what I'm committing to do now. I mean, coming out of hiatus, I did write a post that I will be putting out. But what I did was I actually recorded a video today. And I've started really looking at content I want to create because I want to share stuff from the book. I want to share stuff of the work that I've been doing that may help people because it's been hard. I've been sitting on the sidelines. I hate to say it that way because I'm almost like embarrassed and ashamed to say, oh my God, I'm sitting on the sidelines. It's all I've had. It's all I've had to do everything I can do and not lose it. Okay. But
Mm.
I see people struggling and I see people going through it and I'm like, oh, I really want to help them. But it's like my higher self has been reining me back and saying, you need to get where you need to be.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I got to say that it was just within the last couple days, probably this eclipse. What's the turning point for me? I woke up today and I said, oh my God, I can create content again.
Oh, I felt that.
All I know and all I haven't had the chance to really do that. I've had people say to me, why don't you have a bigger channel? You've been around forever. Why aren't you a bigger channel? And it's like, no, because I've been holding down full-time jobs. I had a digital marketing company. I was, a co-owner in a business. And so I was trying to do all that and do the other as a mission on the side. I was working two full-time jobs. And of
Mm.
course, I was getting paid from the job and the other stuff is just, hey, whatever
Yeah.
and get out whenever and get it out. I've never really had the luxury of saying, what's the best way to present what I know to help
Mm.
people? And now I've got stuff coming in that's like, oh my God, that's the beginning of a course. This is a class.
Mm.
Like, yeah, it's
See,
really, really changing. And so, I appreciate you letting me, share that.
I know, and I want to like thank you and maybe talk a little bit around that about this eclipse, the energy it's bringing coming out of hiatus, and just the
Yeah.
human feelings around like I can't. I know I should be doing something, but I just can't because sometimes there's just this invisible. It's a timing thing. Sometimes there's just invisibility cloak of just like no, you're still, you're still in. And it's hard to put yourself out there. Like that is probably one of the hardest things to do. And I see
Well,
people
it's
getting challenged with that. So it's like, let's be human about it, you know?
well, it's been really hard because a lot of people that are close to me have been like, well, you need to be more consistent with posting content. I'm like, okay, that's nice. But I mean, people will be, and so I've had all that pressure of consistency. And now I know that it's go time. We're
Mm,
in go time, not just for
we
the
are.
light work or spiritual community. We're go time. I am making so many contacts with people in real life, a lot of young people, and I'm loving that. But I feel like it's time to deal with the public. It's time. People are shifting. I got to do what I got to do. Um, but the vulnerability is, oh my gosh, how many times have I committed to, I'm going to create content, but I was too busy to do anything else. This is different. This is so different, but as we were saying, and it is go check out my little video, anyone that's watching this, but I will broach the subject of what I'm talking about, and that is look at the eclipse that we have right now. In tropical astrology, it's in Leo, but in sidereal, it's in Cancer. And
Oh.
Leo is all about your heart, showing up, being present, and putting yourself out there. And then Cancer is about safety. I'm like, you cannot make this stuff up. And
Mm-hmm.
that is how I had been feeling, very vulnerable. I don't feel that way now. I mean, when I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm like, yeah, I could do this all day long. And I always have been able to do this all day long. But having so many other things pulling at you, um, but here we are at this eclipse. What is it? It's a turning point. So I am curious how many other people are feeling. We are now really being asked to show up as our authentic selves. This is
Mm.
who I really am. I may not always like who I really am, and I might not always be the best who I really am, but this is who I really am at any given time. And to be able to show up in your authenticity, how does that make you feel? Do you feel safe? Do you feel vulnerable? Do you feel, um, you know, in other words, this is the other thing is putting down the performative side. I remember lights, camera, action, Debbie in the early days. I am Debbie DuBois, and they just got this persona going on. How do you show up authentic?
Mm.
And there's so much in the spiritual community that is performative. Let me perform for you. How about just show me who you are?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
the strength. That's what we're being called to do. It's not like, okay, let me pull in the greatest downloads and then let me spit it out and try to get out there first with what's coming in that's new. And, it's really about show up authentic, like really
Mm.
show up. That's scariest. That's
It is.
scary. I will
It
leave
is.
I'll leave the word off, but it is scary. So,
And it's very it's very timely to the astrology. I pick and choose with astrology. I'm not one to hyper fixate on it because I do think it's a time cycle that we are stepping out of. But when we're
mhm,
still operating in partly in that, there are truths to it. There's themes and energetic themes.
right.
We just went through a nodal shift, which happens every 18 months. Disclaimer, I'm not an astrologer, but intuitively I get hits, and the intuitive hits I get always seem to match with some astrology transits.
Mhm.
Now it's North Node Aquarius,
Okay.
South Node Leo. So everything you just described is we're letting go of the facade of being like the
Formative.
personality,
Yeah.
and it's about the authenticity of showing up, yeah, for the next 18 months. So we're going to see a lot of dropping away of the performative theatrics, and we're going to see a rise of authenticity in heart-centered space, and that lights me up beyond comprehension.
And I do think that's why we get along so well. is
Mm.
because, I mean, yes, there was always a persona. The light comes on, and I'm doing videos in 2014. I came from making videos back when I was 18 years old. I mean, I was a video director, I was on camera talent, and I am a trained actor. So, yeah, the lights come on and Debbie's persona goes up. But, it's so interesting though. As I watch, I don't watch a lot of videos. I have a very hard time watching a lot of videos. Well, I'm really busy, but what I've always liked about you is how authentic you are. You
Mm.
really are authentic. I mean, you really show up that way, and that really, it's such a good example for others to follow. Is just be yourself. Just allow
It's so
yourself to be
simple.
yourself.
Yeah, it's so simple. Just be yourself. I think
But
we're
it ain't easy.
conditions. No, it's not because we're so ingrained in
Yeah.
this conditioning that we have to like be something that's not authentic to it, and we're unprogramming ourselves or unhooking ourselves from that matrix infrastructure just to come back into who we are because that's where everything flows, you know.
Was it? Wasn't that what Cindy and you? There was something about the video that you just did with Cindy that was something about letting go of the imposter. Did you
Mm.
guys bring up the imposter?
Yeah, we did.
I
Yeah, we
listened
did.
to your video just like what, last yesterday? And that's
Mm.
that's part of it,
Mm.
is that we have an imposter because we're afraid to be ourselves. It's not safe. It's not, like, I'm afraid people will see who I really am. There was one, I want to throw this in here. Sorry, I'm just grabbing the microphone.
Go for
There's
it.
something here that I was shown about this reality, is that in other realities, other realms outside
Mm.
of this universe of light, or whatever you want to call it, usually people pick the dark or the light. I'm going to play the dark. I'm going to play the light. I'm going to play the dark in your video game. But
Mm.
that the realm that we're in is actually one where you get to choose the light, but you still got some darkness that you're working with. And I
Mm.
think that because we have that, we have just a little bit of darkness in us, all of us, no matter how light you think you are. There's some people out there that just really do think they're all light. It's like, it's okay to embrace the shadow, because this is the beauty of this realm that we're in. But that's why I think we create the imposter. We don't want anyone to see it. You're not
Mm.
supposed to have darkness. You're supposed to pick a side.
Mm.
Is that possible? I don't know.
I like that. That is a very plausible component. I've never thought of it in that way, and that's
It was just
yeah.
something that I heard, digested, and I thought, well, that explains a lot,
Hmm.
you know?
Wow, totally makes sense. I think another component to it, from my perspective, is the people who, and this is I see a lot in my work, the people who have the most authentic heart, the most wisdom to give, the most genuine, the most gifted and talented, have the most energies up against them to deter them from being all that they can be. And
Yes.
those that maybe have hmm, should I choose a kind word? Those that maybe are in positions that aren't authentic to them, that are doing it for ulterior motives, that are
Yeah. It's let's just say that they're just being them. How about that? They're just being
yeah,
them. But we know what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. There's kind
You're
of like
very
a
kind.
frequency imprinting. It's like they can distort the freak, they can portray something, but what they're holding is a mismatch to that. And I think what we're moving into more and more is we're becoming a telepathic society more and more, where the masks will drop. It's already happening, but people who are highly sensitive have been living like this for a long time, but now it's becoming more and more And I think by the time we move through the next couple of months, I feel like whatever's about to drop in the collective is going to make people much more attuned to the unseen, the unknown, the it's going to be undeniable as we proceed forward. And I've always said this, like, if people want to hold secrets or be all inauthentic, whether they're doing it like for malicious reasons or just because they're running a program they don't even know it, it doesn't matter. But
Yeah, right.
whatever's inauthentic in frequency,
Hmm.
you can't hide behind a facade when you're living in a world where everyone can read energy. You
That's
can't
right.
keep secrets where people can
Yeah.
pluck things out of your head. And so to me, that gives a great sigh of relief because it's full transparency. And that means within ourselves, within our communities, within our relationships, within our family structure, but it also means globally. So those who've been on the, beating the drum of the warpath of like, and we all have that in us. Let's like
Oh, yeah. I
that
went
we
through
want
that. Yeah.
that wants to see the corruption exposed. I mean, that's
The
all.
truthers, the
Yeah.
ones that have been seeing truth. Is that what you're talking about? Like that part of our
Yeah.
life where we had to go and,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I'm seeing the truth.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, and then, thankfully some of us pull out of that branch of the awakening tree and come back into center, and some just stay down that branch maybe a little too long. But
Yeah.
I think everyone will get to in what's coming through. I think everyone is going to get to experience um a moment of reclamation in what they perceive in their reality of what they believe is the shift. And I
Right.
know whatever we focus on, this has been reiterated to me over and over again. At this point, whatever we choose to focus on in our reality will show up as our reality. You choose. And that's
100%. And that's the challenge. The challenge is you're constantly being tempted to pull off we were talking about the yo-yo energy. You're
oh.
under constant temptation to come off center. And
Mm,
it's like, I keep trying to think, what kind of is it like a tightrope and you're on a tightrope with one of those things? I mean, literally, that has become like some of my main focus is
mm.
how do you stay out of all that stuff? And it's easy to say, oh, just stay off your phone. Yeah, I can stay off my phone. It's like everything I do is on my phone. I mean, from work to even just, my books and all that, everything is a lot of it's on my phone or computer. So it's not realistic to say I'm going to stay off of this. Um, it's not realistic to say, well, I'm not going to hang out with people that are having a bad day. It's like, then you'll be by yourself almost all the time because someone's always having a bad day. And so you're trying to show up and be supportive and all of that stuff. And it's like how to stay in that centered.
Mhm.
It is
And being
like, yeah,
amongst all of it. Yeah. That's true mastery. And that's what we're being asked to hold.
what are you doing about it, sister? Tell me. Give me some thoughts and ideas.
Well, I mentioned this a little bit on the video I put out last night. Now I actually want to share a little bit because it kind of goes into the topic and I want to dive into relationship template. Oh, okay. 3 years ago, I was shown in a dream that the collective were going to go through a mass awakening. Huge. I don't know the details of what that looks like. I can't tell you if it's an energetic thing. It's not what people are holding out for in the soul light. It's definitely not that. It could be an energetic wave that's quite palpable. It could be an actual, catalytic event, which could look any way, shape or form. It's neither good nor bad. It's just a part of what has
An
to take
event.
place. It's an event.
A marker.
A mark, thank you. And there's
Mm-hmm.
and that's it's the point of the many markers. It's like the one that will look back and kind of go, oh, that was that kicked off the domino. And I've
Hmm.
been watching that play out in the energetics re the pod thing. But anyway, this dream came in and it said the collective are going to go through a massive abrupt awakening was the exact words. And I was told in 7 weeks' time, you have to write a course to help people navigate through these energies because it's gonna, get going now. That was the message. I literally woke up and I was like, oh.
Like, oh God, why
So
me
first I
again?
grab my
Oh
I
God.
grab my phone and I count through, okay, well, what, 7 weeks, just to give me a rough estimate. So it lands in October, right? I created the elevation training, elevate two training, elevate. I did what I was asked to do. Nothing of great significance happened that year, but I
Hmm.
know that something of great significance is happening in the same time cycle of this year. So,
Okay.
to answer your question, Debbie,
Yes.
energetic hygiene and self mastery is number one priority. If
Hmm.
you can dedicate, I always say 5 to 10 minutes, and I have so many free resources. If you can't, like, there is no excuse. Like, if you can't access support or a session, there is copious amounts of free material either on my website, my YouTube channel, or just the internet in general,
Right.
or just do your own practice. And it's really about just flushing your whole entire energetic system, like you have a shower, physical hygiene, energetic hygiene,
Hmm. Hmm.
to be conscious of how your energy field is rotating, because one pulls in frequencies, another one holds energetic boundaries. So I'd always talk about in my teachings finding the rotation of the clockwise position and holding your field strong so that when it's in the opposite, and some people energy field may operate in a different way, but what happens is if you're empathetic, it's part of the matrix system that actually we take on way too much stimuli from our surroundings, our phone, people, places. When we go into energetic overwhelm where I just can't
Oh
cope
yeah.
because yeah, it's
Oh,
because
I
our
know what that
field is
is.
actually pulling in copious amounts of
Okay.
energy that is not, we don't need to. We can actually reverse it if we're conscious of how our energy field is placed. Clearing entities, implants, attachments, like right now, and what we're going to go through. I know that a lot of people don't have different, you know, belief systems around it, but entities and unseen beings exist.
Right. We know you know. Yeah.
And not all of them have, as much as people believe in archangels and extraterrestrials and spirit guides and higher self, as you were talking about, we live in duality.
Yeah, we
And
do.
everyone has their own agendas. And in some of them, in their perception, that's all they know. So it's not to
Hmm.
be fearful of it, it's be discerning of it and
Right.
be able to navigate of like, is it these 100-mile-an-hour thoughts in my head that are quite disruptive? Is that mine, or is that an intrusive thought of an energy that's around me? Is that
Absolutely.
mine, or frequencies that are being pumped through the airway? It's just navigating through with trusting yourself, not what's out here or what's in your head. Because, in my opinion, 80% of the thoughts are rummaged through our head.
Hmm.
Either junk, intrusive thoughts, other people's thoughts, astral debris. We got to come here
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
listen
was
for
gonna
that.
say heart compass.
Mm. But the other part, I mean, I
Yeah.
could go on and on, and I'll
Yeah,
kind of
keep
leave it
going
there.
though. I want to know. This was good stuff. Keep
So
going.
the elevation training that I took was basically a map of how to do all these things, and then how to activate your highest timeline, because that's what I believe we're in collectively in the lead up
Right.
into. But Debbie,
Whoa.
I I looked at my notes because I was curious. I went to a very big activation experience through that.
Hmm.
And I've been unpicking it for the last 3 years, going, what actually happened and how did it happen and what set it off and how did I make that, I pinpointed back to one experience that I had, and I was like, that was what set the whole thing off. Like if I was to
Wow,
go
that's
back to
good.
one, yeah, I keep
You get a
extensive,
diary. I'm checking the diary.
right?
I don't have a diary. It's all a blur to me, but go ahead. Tell
But this
me.
is what happened. And I didn't realize literally until 2 nights ago when I checked it, that 7 week marker that I was told, that experience that I'll share in a second came in exactly on the 7 weeks. And I didn't connect the two dots until just the last 2 days.
No.
So when I was told something's going to happen in 7 weeks, it happened to me, just not collectively yet.
Oh, wow. Now, was this what year was this that you said?
2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I
And
met you
so
in 2023, my friend.
yeah, it was all going down. It was all happening.
Okay, please. I want to
So
hear the
what
scoop.
I was getting was in the lead up to that, I kept getting all this intel that the restoration of right relationship template is happening. And on that marker date that I got, which is funny because now people are talking around that date, and I find that really interesting. I was lying in bed minding my own goddamn business, just trying to fall
Of course.
asleep as I do.
Doing my thing here.
And this huge golden template, like a portal opened up at the top of my bedroom, and this huge golden template that looked pretty similar to the cover of your book.
No way. You mean you had a Stargate open? Because that looks like a Stargate,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah,
Kinda.
that's
Yeah.
exact. It had
A
all this
portal.
geometry in it, and
Uh-oh.
I saw the highest aspect of my consciousness and my counterparts' highest aspect drop in, work it, like try and anchor it down into this realm, into my body. Now, this was an experience I had completely by myself. Like I wasn't with
Yeah.
my partner at the time. It was like,
Yeah.
and it landed in my body and it activated the crap out of me.
Whoa.
And I
Wow.
knew that that was the sacred,
Union.
that's what it was. It was the sacred
Yeah.
union template that dropped into my field.
So I wonder if you're carrying the original love blueprint.
That's what it,
That's the subtitle to my book, the original love blueprint, because I knew it's the original blueprint. It's not
yeah,
new. It's what we had to begin with that got
that
so freaking distorted.
that's
Oh,
what I was
that's so
told, that I was bringing it in from my experience in Lyra, which was before it got this universe got corrupted, and
Mhm.
that's what I was bringing was the original. So
Wow.
the reason I share that, and I've never shared that before because it's quite personal to me,
Yeah.
but I know what's coming because I had a taste of it 3 years ago.
Okay.
Now, as we come around again, it's going to be much more accessible and available to those who are ready to receive it because we carry it in us. Those that have it, we already carry it in it. It just needs to get re-sparked.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
we were talking offline earlier. Now, I was listening to, I think it was Molly McCord, the astrologer, and I'll be honest, I was kind of only half listening, but it was about this eclipse, and she talked about how this eclipse is connected to 2018, 2017 eclipses in Leo, and how she literally said this, I almost spat my tea out. She said it's connected to when the twin flame community went absolutely bonkers. And she
Right.
said this eclipse is a marking point of true love, right relationship being restored. I'm kind of verbatim. She's
Yes.
yeah.
Oh. Oh, that's such good news. That is so interesting. Just the timing of that. And I'm spinning back in my mind
Yeah.
2018, 2017. Do you think that we had any kind of a going off course at that time? Or do
I was
you,
just about to say, can we talk about the timeline?
oh
Um,
my gosh, no kidding, because I can't really talk too much about what I want to talk about because, it's I'm the fear of being seen, okay? Because there's a good possibility that I could be seen by certain people, right? And I don't want to be saying what I really want to say. This is where I can't really, there is a fine line sometimes if you want to stand in your integrity of what you can say and what you can't. But if I look back to 2018 and 2017, that was a pretty potent time where things were really, really good.
yes,
And
I
they
would agree.
spun out right around 2020.
Thank you, Debbie. Well, I could look.
And they spun out big time. Now, there was going off the path. I don't want to say 2028, 2018 was probably where it started going off the path from that perspective. But then, of course, the whole global thing went like
Yeah.
a spinning top. But yeah, okay. Well, what do you want to
From my
add?
observation personally, and if I go back around that time, I was doing, uh, I was probably it was one of the busiest work times for me. I do what's called a divine counterpart soul session, where I specifically look at the energetics between two people and where all the blockages are, right?
Mhm.
We've done that together.
I was going to say, you've done that with me.
Yours was impressive, I've got to say.
You were very enlightening. You really made me feel good. You really helped me there. But okay, keep going. So you were doing a lot of those around that particular time. You
I
did
can
mine
honestly,
later, like in
yeah,
2023, but this
I
is
don't do a lot of them these days. Like
right.
it's not the focus of my work. My focus is people on mission, soul integration, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
cosmic children. I still do it. It's still available, but it's not, and
It's
that's
not the
just where
mainstay. Yeah.
back then, Debbie, that was all I was doing,
I can
7 days a
imagine because
week.
yes, I know what that community was like back then.
Mhm.
That was probably when everything really accelerated as to you almost had a splitting off of people that went to someone like you and got clarity, and then there were the rest of them,
Oh man,
right?
I think
Yeah.
I did I ever tell you the story because I did not want to be a part of that community. Um,
Right.
I had been unofficially doing that work like you have been amongst
Hmm.
friends, family, and not family, friends and soul family. You
Right,
know,
right.
I just realized I just naturally knew a lot about, you know, and
Yeah,
through my abilities, I could read what was going
you were
on.
helping. Yeah,
And so then I
relate.
developed it. Sorry, I hadn't developed it. I just wanted to work with people, and I wanted to work in the whole um, high vibrational pregnancy process, and work with women and children. That's all I really wanted to do. I
Right.
The thought of going into that community to me made my stomach, the pit of my stomach, just churn.
I hear you.
And one night I had some blockages around abundance and things like that. Like it was rough for a couple of years, I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
And I laid in bed and I said, how do I get to my next steps? Like what do I need to do to, like, show up, and and I literally heard you have to embrace the twin flame community. I was like, oh no, I'll
Like,
do anything
no,
but
no.
that. I will do anything but that. And the resistance within me was so strong of like, no, 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 no. um,
I can
and then I
relate.
heard, well, you want to work with these, helping anchor these children in, they're only going to come through the true bona fide, as you call it, couples.
Mhm,
So the only
mhm.
way to get to where you're going is through it. Not, you can't go over it, you can't go under it, you can't go around. You gotta go.
Something as it is. Yeah.
And I surrendered that night and I said, okay, fine. And literally the next day I started having, it went off.
Wow.
Like,
Now,
because I
were
had
you
to
doing this?
remove that internal resistance of like, yeah.
Were you doing it professionally? Were you doing sessions like left, right, and center, or were you just in the group helping people? I'm just curious.
I was both. So
Yeah,
back then I was an admin for a large group, but I was
me
also
too.
doing set. Yeah, I was doing.
Well, in my own group, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then, I mean, that was just, it was so crazy at that time.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. And
And then what happened? Like, I mean, here I am asking you, but
mm,
what happened to move you out of it?
uh, I mean, okay, well, that was 29. Okay, so through 17, 18, 19 was like the what I call the peak or the prime time, like it was all happening.
Hmm.
And then towards the end of 2019, there was what I call like a very big ascension window potentiality. Like there was the high timeline had been like accessed by a lot of people. And it
Right.
seemed like there was a lot of couples coming in. And I know from my gauge in the field of when I know that we're hitting those like collective shift markers is when the unborn children get really loud and really tangible because
Hmm.
they'll only be born into a reality that's more harmonized, right? So that's
Right.
one of my markers of when they're starting to really get loud in the field. It was all happening, and it wasn't just me, it was across the board. Anyone who had the eyes to see and had a platform was talking all the similar things. Now,
Right.
what happened from my perspective, because I had a really good finger on the pulse because I had so many clients that I was supporting that were all telling me, oh my God, all like everything's coming together. Like, like
Yeah.
it was magical. It was so magical. There then became an infestation of interference. Now,
That's what I
to
thought
me,
too.
this showed up to me as what I call the black etheric snake beings, which I've tracked back to ancient Egypt time, probably
Okay.
even goes back into like cosmic war, but primarily it's very hijacked Egyptian times. Um, and there was a lot of takeover of masculines, not all, but there was like a lot of programs kicking in. There was a lot of triangulation, third party, what I call handler energies. So someone else would come
Bingo.
in. Mm-hmm,
Yep.
mm,
Handlers.
mm. And I had
Hmm.
this conversation with a soul sister of mine just a couple of days ago because I think it's really refreshing for those who've gone through it, who've stayed silent and gone, did I just see someone shapeshift and their eyes just go into like, it's very confronting and you think you're losing your mind, but
Hmm.
handlers are a real thing, you
Yeah.
know, and they're just someone who comes in and plays a role that takes another person off their path, that creates a divergence and brings in interference to take people off or take a couple off the ultimate timeline.
Right.
And that was happening across the board. I went through it, and every single person I know went went through it. I actually don't really know anyone that escaped that
Right.
because we were hitting that marker point. And I've always known that the shift in consciousness is preceded by or in and around or a massive component. We talked about this in the last interview is the couples coming together,
Right.
harmonizing and amplifying. And I
Hmm.
think because that was happening in droves, I
It,
literally
yes.
it took me a long time to pick it apart. But how I see it now is there were all this insertion of energetic overlays of inorganic timelines that just came in and distorted reality to, and it just pulled people apart, just in the most extreme ways. And obviously then 2020 happened, so it hit globally, so it wasn't just us in the spiritual or counterpart community, it was collectively.
Right.
And we've been trying to work our way out of that back to the organic of not where we were, but hitting that threshold of timeline. And you can look at that from many perspectives, and I always like to look at it from, and there is a perspective of like, okay, we hit a collective marker point and there weren't enough people ready to kind of go through that jump in consciousness, so we had to kind of go through
Right.
the
Right.
I mean, you can come at it from many different perspectives, but
I agree with
there
you. You
was
can
there
paint the pictures you want to paint about what happened.
but
Hmm.
there was some very nasty and nefarious energies, entities, beings that were um, playing a very hard path to create a division and
Hmm.
ripple to put us off course. And I think that was the pivotal point that made people, what you were saying earlier, shut their hearts and close down and go, I must have been wrong. I
That
must
is
have made it
exactly
up.
it. That's exactly it, right then and there. And I want to tell you before I forget, your course. Now, I did not finish your, tell me the name of the course again, because
Oh,
I'm so bad.
there's elevation training and
Yeah,
elevate too.
elevation, right? Elevation. I took that course, but I didn't take it till 2023. But what
Mm.
happens is I identified the source energy of that interference as a
Mm.
walk-in or a someone when they
Oh,
were
I got
getting ready to
chills.
pass,
Mm-hmm.
someone came in
Mm-hmm.
and I was dealing with it full-fledged.
Mm.
Totally. And in fact, I identified banshee energies and I had to get Hamish. I had to
Yes.
literally get Hamish to help me. I said, I can do this. I'm going to do this because I figured out how to do it through you. But I said, back me up here, buddy.
And yeah,
Yeah.
when we're dealing with
Yep.
that level of like intense energy, sometimes we need someone to double team in that process, because if you're dealing with well, I've had encounters with those. They are
Well,
nasty.
what's so funny is that you're the energetic person, and I don't even know what the banshee thing is. All I know is you had me looking in pain. I had a pain in my knee, and I went looking at the pain in the
Oh,
knee. I tuned in and I found a banshee. And typically, the person would not have permission to come into my field, but because I had a merged field,
that was
with
the
my
objective.
person at the time, right? That's how
Mm.
they entered in. So yeah, and so Hamish said to me, "Well, if it's a merged field, you can tell her to get the hell out. Let's do this." And that's what I did. I wanted to credit your course with. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, okay, and it worked. It
It's
did
actually a
work.
lot. Yeah, that's why I like to teach people. It's actually like easier than people think to just be able to. It's really revealing when you listen to the body and what the body aches. They've all got a story to tell, and you shift that, you shift your life. It's quite.
That's part of my daily thing is actually realizing and declaring every single day, this is my I am presence, this is my part of source God creator that is here operating, but this body is a gift, it's a vessel, it is something that needs to be honored and it needs to be listened to. Because if you think about, we think of ETs and their crafts, they merge with their crafts, it's their
Hmm,
mind that runs the crafts. Well, hello, that's what this is our
yeah,
UFO. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
It's our
Totally.
craft.
It's our
And so
yeah.
yeah, your body is so intelligent.
Mm,
So yeah. So thanks for helping me
yeah.
make that connection because that's how I found the banshee. And she wasn't
Well,
pretty.
yeah, well, I think that was the name of the game, and I've heard this. Like, obviously have my own experience and plethora of them, And
Hmm.
like you, there's only some things I can talk about. Like
Yeah.
out of respect, sometimes you don't share the
Yeah.
full story. Um,
Absolutely.
Yet I like to share as much as I can, just out of context for people, of like not just a theoretical concept. Like this is lived experience. Like nothing I've created or you've created does, it comes from, actual lived experience. But that was the name of the game, was to get to the love template frequency. That's the
Right.
commodity. That's what happened in Egypt. That's what's been playing out through the corrupted hijacked timelines, through these
Right.
beings, is they don't have, or they've either forgotten, or they don't have access to that frequency. That frequency transforms our biology. It
Right.
gives us, you know immortality, if you will. Like if
Oh,
you it gives us access to
absolutely.
abundant, like it is the elixir, it is the holy grail, if you will. So
Yeah.
when you have a merged field with someone, that you're creating that co-creative energy field and force,
Hmm.
that is the most powerful thing we have in this entire universe.
Yeah.
it,
Oh,
it
absolutely.
So the name of the game was to put one of the pair in unconsciousness. Entity comes in, takes whatever, but through they have access to a dual field, which is like,
Hmm.
and that's what was going on. So that's
Yeah.
why so many people had to cut and disconnect and like out of my life, like energetic boundaries, because
Right.
I'm trying to protect my own sovereignty. And you can't see
Hmm.
what's happening in your life that's impacting me, because you know that when you have that connection, the quantum entanglement is real. What they
Oh,
go
it's
through,
real.
you go through,
Hmm.
and vice versa. That's
Hmm.
how, and it's designed that way. But yeah, when there's something that's has a malevolent agenda, it can, really tamper with that. And I think we've had to, maybe it was all by design. It was meant to happen this way. Who knows? Like
Yeah.
I go back and forth a lot, because I know
Me
so
too.
so many of us have grown so much through that huge downfall. Like that was a real blow, and maybe
Baby. Oh. I know.
but I think we're back to hold the fort, like to now we get to come back around again, and however it's going to transpire. And for some people, it may be the original person coming back around, and
Hmm.
for others is what I talk about in soul transference or
Hmm.
frequency transference. They will rematch with someone who's the best suited person for them, that will
Right.
have an energetic overlay that will create that counterpart life experience. And
Hmm.
that's not a walk-in. That is what I was told at that time, because so many people like myself were lost, were like, what do I do? All
Look at who's got to come visit. It's like
that.
your animal made an appearance. And now Jasper, Jasper, you want to say hello? He always wants to be on camera. Look at him.
Hey,
Jasper. Anyway,
oh my god, we got the background noise is
got our kids.
Puppy's
Oh, that's
slurping up a
fine.
bunch of water. It's thirsty stuff. And I'll say this, and I'm gonna shut up because I feel like
What are you doing?
transference can mean that this is what I was told when so many people lost, like, well, I was told that was my path, and now that person's gone with someone else, or that person's moved, yeah,
Made a new choice.
made a new choice,
Hmm.
however that looks. And
Absolutely. I hear you.
um and they have it, whether that's their own free will volition, or whether they kind of got hijacked in the process, or anything in between that. Like that's okay. Like coming to peace with that is not easy, but like what I was told was, you're on a divine union journey. Your journey will continue no matter what,
Yeah.
because that's important. And it's going to show up how it's, we have to believe in all the, we've talked about a lot of darkness, but ultimately we have to believe in the benevolence of the universe, that we
Yeah.
have our own back.
Can I tell you my theory on some of this that you're talking about? And
Please
it's something
hit
that
me.
I
I want to
think
know. I want to know all the
I'm
theories.
wondering if it's actually in my book. It's like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what was in my book? Because I've expanded so much. I could probably write another book since the book, right? I mean, seriously, that's how much expansion. I have this sneaky suspicion that there's one of two things. Either that person who originally catalyzed us is really a catalytic heart awakening, a soul.
Mm.
So, like, look at a branch and there's trees with leaves, and there's leaves that are on the same tiny little branch. I mean, you can call it the oversoul,
Mm.
whatever you want to call it, but
Mm.
you got
Yeah.
this branch and you got these leaves. Well, what if the leaf there is not your original person you came in with to play the game? Well, maybe the person right next to him said, I'll come in and be that person.
Oh,
And
good.
I'm chilling all over on that because this is my belief.
Mm.
I really believe this is a two-person game. I really believe, I don't know.
Mm.
Remember the first time I ever saw you, Athena, was on that workshop that you guys were doing? I really, really resonated with the fact that I think we did come in with another player, or we divided into two. I'm not sure how it happened, but that person is our original person. And that original person came in with us to play the game so that we could explore the same themes, like the same, like I'm a mediator. I've been a mediator for the beginning of time. Every incarnation has some kind of mediation in it. I like to bring bipolar together. I like to help people see eye to eye. I will always try to do that. That's just me. I played a mediator. I'm sure my person has been a mediator, had the same kind of,
Mm.
like you want to have the same experiences, but I'm not sure whether the person that catalyzed us has to be that original person, or whether that original person is just the person that shows up when it's the time for the coming together. And to me, it doesn't matter.
It
I believe
absolutely.
we really are going to end up with that actual original pair. You'll be conscious of each other. You'll know, everyone will know, because it's we don't have any secrets when we're all telepathic. Everyone's
Mm.
going to know who's everyone's partner, do-si do. We've been doing the do-si do, but when it comes right down to it, musical chairs, no one's going to be left standing. Everybody gets a seat at the table. So what does it
Mhm.
matter? It doesn't matter to me. And so that enabled me to let go, to say, hey, if this person was actually my person, either they're really going to come around. I may not have that experience here, but I'll eventually know, they'll eventually know, but it doesn't matter. And see, I think that once I got to that state, and Hamish was very, very helpful to me
Mm.
in breaking some bonds that I had
Likewise.
that made me think I can't let go of that thought, of that
Mm.
idea, of that concept. Um, Now I'm wide open. I'm like, no attachment. And there's the sovereign heart. The sovereign heart is when you get to the space where you're so centered within yourself that, of course, you want companionship. Of course, you want, love and affection and reflection of what you love and have accepted about yourself. You're in your authentic expression. Of course, you want to share that with someone. Well, I believe that's going to come in. So it doesn't really matter. But I can tell you, Alicia, this is coming full circle.
Oh, tell
All
that.
of the patterning, I mean, I've been doing some soul work on some of the blockages that I still have, the things that I didn't realize were still there, and going in and finding out, like, what exactly is the belief. This is part of the work in my book, is, figuring out what it is that you must believe in order for you to be living this out, and going
Mm.
in at every single thing, these beliefs that stop us. That's what I think you're dealing with the overlays. I'm consciously going in and saying, I see you. I see you, little belief there. And some of them just vanish. And then others are like, oh my God, I got to pull you out because you're really, really stuck in there. Um, but some of these things are coming full circle with the person. And I'm like, oh my God, I get it. I understand now. Now I see with new perspective. Now I interpret it through a different lens. Now I relate with it. I identify differently with it. What does that do? This is a big thing about what's in my book, the alignment. You were talking, the word that you used was, oh my gosh, you said something, and I wrote down alignment. That's what we're doing right now. We are coming into alignment with that template that you brought in.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, we really have to be on. It's so funny because the twin flame journey became the sovereign heart journey for me. It's just what's the continuation of the twin flame? We're on the sovereign heart journey. When you get to that space and you're in full mind, heart coherence, and you've got your compass and you're
Mm-hmm.
using that heart compass, you're just completely in a receptive place to find the alignment when that other person finds their alignment, but you don't need them to find the alignment to have your alignment. Let them go. Let them go do whatever. Let someone else come in and float in. Doesn't matter, right? So that's kind of really, that's pretty much what, for how I'm seeing it. Kitty,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, my cat.
I love two things that come to mind to
Okay.
riff off what you've just said. When I did Elevate 2, which is all about divine, the term that I was told was divine soul connections, not
Right,
connection,
right.
connections. And that's very triggering for people when they're very, as we all have been. So there's no judgment, sat in that place
Yeah.
for years, very fixated on that one person. And you know what? Actually, it's not to take away from that, because a lot of people's original catalytic heart awakening could have been with the original person, but it's not gonna eventuate now, or like, there's been a lot of contingency plans that have had to come into play, I believe.
Yes, I agree.
And I think we're not running to the original script because of the level of interference that we didn't see coming. That's my personal opinion, but to
Yeah.
be okay with that. And so what my work has really explored since about 2021 was all the different types of counterparts that we can encounter that contribute to our journey. And it's
Yeah.
based on our shared template of um, the origins of where we've come from, like uh, where our origins connect from in the past, and also what the shared purpose is, and how we can move forward with that, and how we activate each other. And so it's
Hmm.
kind of taking the yes, it's still a very human embodied experience, but it's kind of taking the bigger perspective of really understanding the purpose.
Right.
Because I think also what can get really muddled is you can get activated by a high level soulmate. You know how you're talking about the branches on the tree?
Yeah.
Um, that you describe that perfectly. It's like how I see the monad. We have very similar frequency matches, but
Yeah.
there is one. There's always like there's a divine coupling, and then there's a lot of other people that hold similar frequency matches,
Hmm.
and they can come in at all different times to help support us through different places and spaces. And you know what? They don't always have to be romantic either. You know what I mean?
True.
And that
I
can
agree
get
with you. Totally. Yeah.
so when you can get really clear on what is the purpose of this connection, where do we come from, how we kind of synergizing. I think it's very hard when it comes into like male female, especially if you had a heterosexual. When you get all those like union energies, the mind can get very confused. And I think
Of course. Yes.
um so that was what was given to me in 2023, is like divine soul connections,
Hmm.
and how
Hmm.
it takes a village to kind of um to get to where we're going to unify and harmonize. And I see this as it we've done individual ascension process before, some of us, either 13 years sitting in a cave, as we know, through
Hmm.
Eastern philosophy. That's individual ascension. You activate your light body and away you go.
Hmm.
This is a planetary ascension process. And this is where I
Right.
get, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone has been through that. Some of us, I have soul memory of going through a planetary ascension process on
Right.
Arcturus, actually.
Okay.
And so a
See, you
lot
can
of us,
remember stuff like that. I'm jealous. I want to remember mine. I don't know
I
where
think,
I've been, what I've been doing.
oh, you've been busy, girl, let me tell
I
you.
probably don't want to know. No one
Well, a
else
lot of
wants
it,
to
yeah,
know either.
comes.
But go ahead.
But I guess this is where I get like all fired up is like this is a group project and we got to play nice with the team and we can't
Yeah.
get too fixated on when's my union going to come.
Right.
We're all working towards that as a group. And until we clean up this mess of infiltration, even
Hmm.
if we come together in our respective partnerships and relationship, unless we're in a clean playing field, we're still going to deal with the effery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Listen, everything they throw at us, we got to improv. I mean, and that's so funny because as an actor, that's my favorite absolute kind of acting is improv. And you got a goal, man, and you got to do what you got to do.
You
And
got
it actually becomes very funny because you're so fixated on the goal. And but yeah, when they threw 2020 at us,
mm,
this is why I think we have a hard time deciding whether or not it was already predestined that we were going to go through that, or if we were just, I think we were winging it. But I think what happens is as
we
light
have been
warriors,
winging it.
we're just like, we got our light swords and we're just, man, we're just whatever. we're, we're going to win because and you have to improv it. And that I think is having to let go of, like, you have certain goals. Like that's what, and when
Mm.
you do an acting improv, it's like you're told your goal and you don't let go of the goal. Well, my goal is ascension, man. I am ascending. I don't care. It doesn't matter what happens. If it's not my person, too bad. Whatever it takes for everybody to ascend. So we've had to
Oh,
adapt, and it's not always fun because you know what I think it is especially when you've had such a significant experience. I wish I could share my experience. I can't. I wish I could because everyone would be like, "Oh my God, you had that and that and that and that and this," and I'd be like, "Yeah,"
mm-hmm.
and I had to give it up. I
Mm.
had to give it up. I had to give up the dream of it. I had to give up the memories of it. I had to put away everything. I had to pull myself back up by the bootstraps and say, okay, well, what's next? Because that apparently is not going to happen the way I had hoped. So, but I think that's who we are. That's what we came to do,
It's
right?
the resilience of us pushing forward
Yeah.
in amongst the
Yep.
most heartbreaking adversity. And,
Yeah. It
sometimes
is.
it's the
It's
catalyst to,
heartbreaking.
yeah, yeah.
It's heartbreaking. But at the same time, anyone that's listening, anyone that's watching, that's still with us is, relating to this and realizing, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. I can assure you of one thing. If you align yourself with your sovereign heart journey, if you align yourself with that original love blueprint, you will experience it. I have no doubt. I have no doubt
1000%.
because it's part of coming home
Mm,
to be reflected
mm,
in a counterpart. When you have found your perfect self expression, you have found your perfect love for self without the ego. I mean, everyone has ego. Let's not kid around. We all have the little shadow. But when you really are flying and you really have mastered as much as you can, to not have that reflected in another person doesn't make sense.
mm, mhm.
I mean, if we were all one big ball of light, which I always don't want to be, I'm like, don't make me part of that one big light. I want my own individual consciousness,
Mm,
But
me too.
if we were one big ball of light,
Mm,
why would you go into all these different pieces except
mm,
to see who you are through reflection, through
mm,
projection,
mm,
through, you
mhm.
see? So,
Mm,
how could we come full circle and come home if you don't have an experience with that special someone that
mm,
sees everything that you are
mm,
and absolutely just wouldn't change a thing?
mm.
Because you wouldn't change a thing. That's the alignment.
Yeah.
When you wouldn't change a thing about yourself, yeah, okay, let's grow, let's expand, let's learn more experiences. But yeah,
Mm,
kind of how I feel about it.
yeah. Oh my God, my heart just got all warm and gooey just listening to you share that. And I agree with you.
I'm
I
ready.
think, yeah, I think that we came here to break the inorganic overlays of the distorted relationship template so we could bring back the original. And that's
Yeah.
what we're doing. You know, it's
And
not easy.
apparently you landed it in 2020. What was it, 2023?
I've actually landed it a couple of times. That was the
Okay.
that, but that one was the most um like that changed my whole life.
Thank
I
you.
landed the golden grids in January of 2022. I'm just going back.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's been a few but that was like very, very specific. That particular template that landed in 2023 was the first time I came across that. And that energy has been sort of trying to permeate since then. But I
Yeah.
guarantee that that was a catalyst that made me literally walk into the new harmonic reality and
Wow.
jump timelines for that period. And you know, I had my supernatural abilities. My body completely reframed and reshaped. And I went
Wow.
through that as a solo journey, but I was holding that template within me fully activated.
Isn't that interesting? You're holding it yourself. See, sovereignty. There's the sovereign piece of it. You got to be able to hold that yourself because otherwise you're outsourcing it to someone else to make sure that you're getting the reflection. Okay, am I okay? Am I okay? Right? When you don't have that, you got to be okay
Yeah.
here, right?
And during that time, I think
Mm-hmm.
I only spent like 1 or 2 weekends with my partner. And it was pretty apparent to me that I was holding it, his wasn't activated. And I was
Yeah,
told during that experience that there was going to be a period of time of catch up for some who weren't ready yet because they were
yeah,
still going through their clearing or initiation phase or whatever that looked like. And I think
right.
we've had to but we set and landed the groundwork for it to then harmonize in the physical. And why I know it's all happening is I haven't given up. I've been working on this collective template since then and much more proactively this year. Um, and that's where I've been going into like I basically went, what is the infrastructure that has held everyone to not have access to that? Let me dismantle that. And that's been my work with the pods and et cetera, et cetera. But I actually had a
Right.
personal experience about a month ago, completely spontaneously, where I was doing a body scan, like you and I were talking about, and I
Yeah.
felt something, and I was like, "What is that?" And I pulled it out. Oh, sorry,
And what
puppy.
was it? Obviously, your dog knows what it was.
It was the imprint of the black snake that was the one that came and bit me etherically at the end of 2019, and I got physically very sick from that etheric
Oh,
bite. And I look at that as the marker point when the whole inverted operation, it came into my body, it came into my reality. And I didn't,
wow.
and I had released it a long time ago, but I was still
Mhm.
carrying an imprint, and I literally unhooked it, and I was like, I didn't expect it, but I was for 2 days. The snake was following me, and I was like, "What do you want? What do you want?"
Wow.
And it said, "I want to show you the gold." And then this process, and what happened was, as I pulled it out and unraveled my field, I was literally watching like a movie in reverse. that showed me all the times where the hijacking and the interference had come into my personal storyline and it was being unwound, completely unwound.
Wow.
Two
So,
weeks later, I
okay.
then repeated that process and witnessed it happening in the collective field.
Oh, wow.
So
Now,
it goes,
did the snake come in as a messenger for you? Like to tell you about this? I'm not sure I caught that.
yeah, okay. So initially the snake came in with like in 2019 when I was bitten, I was on the phone to what I consider my original counterpart, not
Okay.
knowing that there was other relationship
Right.
parties involved. And
Right.
it was through that night that I got very unwell and that impacted me for
Oh,
6 months. I
okay. All
I
right.
kept having what I deem as having like psychic attack. I had like just
Hmm.
mm, and I couldn't I actually got really annoyed because it was like I had a blindfold on. And for someone
Uh,
who's so psychic, to
yeah.
to look back and not realize I hadn't picked that up for 6 months was like probably a big betrayal. It felt like, but
Yeah.
it played out how it did. I can't believe I'm oversharing right now, but what happened was I was having constant like falling over. I actually fractured my I keep having freak accidents where I'd fall
Okay.
over
Yeah.
and I
Just like,
smashed my
how'd that
face up.
happen? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I would have these nights where I'd be lying in bed and all these demonic beings were coming at me. And it was a very, very dark time in my life that I,
I
I don't
guess
talk about.
so.
um,
Wow. Well, thank you for being so open with us. And it must be, again, what were we talking about? The turning point of being seen and
yeah.
not being afraid that it's not safe to be seen.
Mm, mm,
It's safe to be seen. This is the shift that we've got to all get used to.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
it
not
is.
an easy shift to get used to. So thank
No,
you for sharing that.
thanks for, yeah. But I guess not excitement is that energy. And I don't hold animosity to the people and the players. I
Yeah,
know that it's the energy behind it that's, moving the
of
chess
course.
pieces around. I just want to make that very, very clear. But it was
Yeah.
that energy that was coming to do that sort of interference takeover. But what has happened just in the last month alone has been the full energetic reversal
Oh,
that
that's
goes
such
back
good news.
beyond 2019. This goes back to the original in this universe. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I witnessed that in the last couple of weeks through working the template field. And now I realize that anchoring it in 2023, yeah, someone can hold it and anchor it. But if we haven't cleaned up the mess that's in and around and through, and
Right.
we can't have a clear connection.
Right.
It will. So this cleanup job that we've been in for many years, not just 3 years, has been
Yeah.
vital and crucial. So what you've gone through, Debbie, what people watching this have gone through in the unthinkable,
Yeah.
experiences has been part of this massive cleanup job. Yeah.
Well, and it certainly will make, if people are watching that have wondered why it had to be this way, it's because it was part of the release of all of it.
Mm,
And, if you look at it as a video game, as I often do, I have to. I'm like, yeah, this is a
mm,
video game because otherwise
mm,
you go crazy. Um, because we are experienced players, we have known what we need to do and we
mm,
just get the job done. And
mm,
and at the end of the day, we're all going to look back at this and laugh because we're all going to be like, I can't even believe it. Oh my God, you believe this. And oh my gosh, you believe that. I'm serious.
mm,
I've
mm,
seen it
mm,
in
mm.
my own visions of what, and I've heard of so many people that have had near death
Totally.
experiences and out of body experiences, and they all know the truth. This is a game,
We're
and
all just playing roles.
we take it so seriously because it's a combination of dark and light. And if
Yeah.
you've chosen the light, you're not used to having to deal with darkness inside of yourself. You're used to
Mm,
going, oh, that's the dark side, and I'm the light side, right? Or you pick the dark side. But yeah, it makes so much more sense to me now that when it's said and done, we're going to be like, oh my God, girl, he was doing this and she was doing that. And it'll all come back into perspective based on who we are. But
oh,
for now,
totally.
but for now, we're in this game and we're
We're
playing
we're
it. We're
mhm.
improving, man. This is serious stuff.
We're improving at expert level at this point, and we've got
Yeah,
to just get out, like we're unhooking out of it. So
that will be nice.
like you, like in some of the hardest parts, some of the guidances like popped into me is like literally what you said. At the end of this, the curtains fall back and everyone celebrates, going, "Hey, good job, well
Yeah,
played. You
yeah,
played that villain so well." And everyone's like hugging and rejoicing because
yeah.
it's only the people who we are the closest to us that can create the biggest impact. And sometimes the people closest to it, you know, for whatever reason, are the catalyst for growth,
Oh,
exponential
absolutely.
growth.
Yeah. Push
And
those buttons and push on those bruises and smack you around a bit, or let's push on that doubt and fear, shall we? I
mm,
mean, like people, we have people around us, and not just take that to the global level. These players, man, they're in it. We talk
yeah,
about an improv, they're in it to win it. So, but
totally.
but is it part of our experience? Is it necessary? Like this is where we go back and forth. Is it necessary? We might have had to go through this in order to get the full experience we wanted.
Mm.
We won't know until the curtain goes up and we go, I remember now.
I've got to share this, but for anyone who's
So
like struggling with like, okay, my original person may not be the person that I'm gonna like continue this journey with, and you know, because speaking from experience and so many other people's experiences, that original catalyst, if you're energy sensitive, they're still a part of you. Just because you're not fulfilling that timeline, you're still going to connect with them in dreams and energetic space. I mean, I saw a symbol today that
mhm.
mean like
Yeah,
it
you still
doesn't
get them.
necessarily go
Right.
away, but like we get on with the life that's in front of us and the relationships that are showing up in our life and our world. But I had this look in, let's say it's a session, and there were like it was a scenario where there had been a transfer from like the original to the person who was going to fulfill the mission in that union. And I looked at the higher perspective. It was actually shown to me on a space because they were anyway.
Yeah,
And
I love that stuff.
they were like best friends or brothers, and they were joking. They were like, "Oh, your turn's up. Now you're gonna deal with the complaining." Because she complains a lot. It was actually comical, and it
Yeah,
showed me a different perspective that we're all supporting each other, and some just have to
yeah,
like step out of the movie and play their own movie, allow another leading role character to come in, but it doesn't take away the importance of any connection. That on a soul level, we're actually all rallying to support the ultimate goal, which is to bring
yeah.
this original love template back in
Because
living experience.
we tend to think there's a choice between this and this, right? There's a choice between this person and this person. Well, I'll tell you what, I have daughters, and I could not choose between my daughters who's more important to me than another. I could not choose between my daughter and my person of who's more important. It exists, it
No,
coexists at
yeah,
the same time. It's just
correct.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We are moving into a world to understand and recognize that we can have many streams of love that have equal importance. They just all show up and look differently. And just to be really clear, I'm not talking about a poly relationship.
no, no, I totally understand what you're saying. No, there really is an original. Like I said, this was a two-player game. I'm positive. I know
Oh,
it.
I don't discredit that for a second.
Yeah.
Mm.
So is there any wonder that we're all wanting that original pair again with the
because we've
consciousness shift?
because
Yeah.
we've lived it and we know what it's like, and that
Exactly. And I think that that's it. When you experience it and you know that feeling, it's just like there's nothing else like it. But again, there's nothing else for me. I do have, like I said, two daughters, and there's nothing like that. I remember when my daughter first came along, I was
mm,
like, okay, so this is what it feels like to be in love. I was married, and
mm,
my daughter
mm.
was the closest thing I've ever had to heaven in my life.
Oh.
Now she doesn't like me as much. No, I'm just kidding. Now she knows better than her mama. But what I'm saying is that it's all relative. I mean, it's
Mm,
all,
mm,
but boy, that original pair, it's because our fields were merged in the same frequency and vibration, if that's what it
mm,
feels like to me. Or it could really be that we split and became two. I don't know.
mm,
I don't
mm,
know, but it's, yeah.
mm, mm. Oh my God, Debbie.
Oh my gosh, we could just talk forever, couldn't we? Oh
I
my
think
gosh.
I think what I'd love to is invite you back regularly if you would be
Yeah,
open to that.
love it.
And I'm sure people who've got a lot out of this, would write in the comment section like what me and Debbie could talk about this topic. And I think we've only
We scratched the surface, people. And if you're
um
still with us, you're a champion.
mhm, totally. Um, so let's wrap this up for now, but
Yeah.
let's come back and do as a more of a regular segment so we can talk about different
Okay.
topics and uh, relevant real-time updates of what we're witnessing.
Oh, I love
So
that idea.
yeah, so thank you, Debbie.
Okay.
I will
Mhm.
put in the description box because I know not only do you have the book now available, but you're also
Yeah.
offering readings and sessions. So I will put in the description box below how you can connect with Debbie. And I highly recommend that you go and do that because she's incredible. Her work is just so powerful, so authentic, so filled with love and codes. So
Thank
thank you for
you.
being here. Thank you for being my soul
Thank you for
sister
having me.
and the work that
Thank
you
you.
do that helps so many. So
And you too, my friend. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I
mm,
really look forward to getting together on a more regular basis because I think things are going to get fun. I
it's gonna
think
get real
things are
fun.
really going to get real, like they're not already.
We covered the history and the darker stuff. Maybe next time we'll like raise it up a notch. So
There you
we've set
go.
we've set a grounding. So anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. All the details once again in the description box below. Love to read your comments of where you're at in your journey, and we'll come back and go round two. So much love
Okay.
to everyone, and we'll connect
Bye.
with
I
you
love you,
soon.
Alicia. Thank you.
Bye.